They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat.
I need to get you that video.
All right. It's news from the pew. What's up? It's the internet. We talk about it.
News from the pew. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right. We have returned after a 1-week hiatus because I was in North Carolina participating in the Martyrs Walk.
Still waiting for him to give me a call, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I told you. The week before.
I think I sit around and going, oh, where's Rick?
You gotta shine the Waffle House symbol in the sky.
The Waffle House is 5 minutes away from me.
I went to 2 Waffle Houses while I was there. I didn't see you near any of them.
It's away from where you were at, and
right.
I see how it is.
Thunderbird or the Abbey? Are you close to the Abbey?
I'm about 20 minutes from the Abbey, probably.
Oh, okay. Well, next time I will break into Steve Cunningham's house, and we'll have a show in his house. I'll just sit on his lap for an hour, and we'll do news from the pew if you keep talking about it. Huh? You got a big enough camera? Yeah, I mean, you just see the top of my head, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and a little bit of distance, folks, is okay.
Speaking of which, are you a New York Times bestseller yet? No.
I think I'm a Times of India bestseller. I don't know if that counts, but
India is India.
Although I will say I was #1 in natural law. If you go to Amazon, if you look at The Armed Catholic, and it was the #1 book under the category of natural law for a little while. So
I didn't even know there was a category for it.
Yep. Hey, I'll take it wherever I can get it.
Is there a category on books published on October the 14th?
Yeah, #1 there too. #1 there. So yes, still working. And if you are interested in it, folks, you can get it at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. If you're interested in ebooks or Kindles and that stuff, it's available on all those platforms as well. I am working on the audiobook. It's probably going to be available first of the year. Just to get
Is it read by an Indian?
Hmm?
Since you're Times of India, is it going to be read by an Indian?
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be like 5 versions. Yeah. One read by a North Korean, one read by somebody from India. We'll see. The more accents, the better, I feel.
Will you do a DJT Trump voice while you're reading it? Like the whole thing read by your version of Trump?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to charge double for the amount of work that I have to do for that. But
like now you can do a video too, and you got the hand gestures going as well.
Yeah, that's right. Just a little like that. That definitely have to cost more. Just for the whole circus of it would have to be a little bit more in that regard, but that's okay. I would be willing to do so.
I think people would just like the Trump Bible and the shoes.
Trump Bible. The fact that that's still a thing is still hysterical.
Bulletproof, man, is probably
it's a bulletproof Trump Bible, so that's even better. So yeah, that's
speaking
funny.
Of which, did you see Oklahoma? Not to get off subject or anything. You see Oklahoma with that?
With what?
Oklahoma wants to get the Trump Bible. Do what?
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
They want to put the Trump Bible on all their schools.
Well, there's only like 4 schools, so that's not really that big of an investment.
Really?
So it's really not that bad. Same with self-promotion right there. So there you go. Steve's like, I don't know how you put that on my program, but I did. So that's how I'm able to do that kind of thing.
It meets the requirement for Oklahoma classrooms because it has the Declaration and other things in there.
The American Bibles, those are always the most cringy ones. And I have, speaking as one back when I was like neocon, blah, blah, blah. There's an American Bible somewhere in this house. Back when I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's such a neat thing. I think it's so great. But now I don't, obviously, folks. I think it's cringy and you should not do it. But we have a lot to talk about. And now that we've shamelessly run my book into the ground, which is fine. I'm very happy about that. And if you want to buy it, that would be greatly appreciated. So we got 2 weeks worth of stuff to catch up on. And I think the place we'll start from here is last week while I was in North Carolina, not with Steve, but near Steve, close to his heart, but not with him. They have something called the Al Smith Dinner. It happens every year. It's when the two candidates go to this charity event. It's run by Catholics, and it's a lighthearted affair where you get to have the two presidential candidates kind of make fun of each other, make fun of the whole thing. Trump went. They didn't have it in 2020, obviously COVID, cough, but they had it this year. And so Trump went, but Kamala decided not to. And of course, Trump took advantage of that.
Here's the Kamala version. See how everyone
and come together to do some good by supporting the tremendous charitable work of the Catholic Church. The Church cares for the sick and feeds the hungry, supports families with housing and
Democratic Party doesn't
education,
even like her anymore.
and in times of disaster, provides not only essential supplies, but also, and so importantly, a sense of hope. The Gospel of Luke tells us that faith has the power to shine a light on those living in darkness and to guide our feet in the path of peace.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
That's probably the best one.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fantastic in those environments.
I hit the wrong
He's just
button.
the best.
Here's Gaff again on one day. He wasn't supposed to.
Oh, man. Catholic.
This
Jim
event
Gaffigan.
has been referred to as the Catholic Met Gala. 22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast. President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that. That's... I guess I'm the only one that reads history. The media has begun discussing the phenomena of secret Trump voters. I don't know if you've heard about this. People who publicly say they would never vote for Trump, but then when they go in the voting booth, they do. It's a small group. They're called the Biden family. The Democrats have been telling us Trump's re-election is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal? Sometimes prayers take 3.5 years and a George Clooney op-ed.
I mean,
There's some
he's
zingers.
he's fine. He's a never Trumper, and it is what it is.
Well, Trump looked good as long as there's a writer. I mean, he still doesn't have he's old. So if he was 20 years younger, he probably would have kicked those jokes even better. But I mean, that whoever wrote those jokes were fantastic.
Oh, right on, spot on, perfection. So there's really all it is more tradition at this point.
Yeah.
For the campaigns. But it is interesting that Kamala decided not to show up. And I think it's funny. Let's just get this out of the way, and we will we'll just keep reinforcing this. Steven, all y'all are starting to come around. Now, Steve tweeted about this earlier. All of you all are starting to come around to our point of view, which we've been saying is that Kamala is the sacrificial lamb, that she absolutely is the sacrificial lamb. And this is a layup for DJT. I know people are starting to say, oh, well, the Maricopa County says they're not going to count their stuff. And Georgia said they're not going to count their stuff. And blah, 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 blah. All for ratings. All for ratings. DJT is he's going to be installed back into the White House. It may not be the 5th, maybe the 8th, so they can drag out cable ratings and stuff like that. But he's going back in because Kamala is Joe Biden should be thanking Kamala Harris for booting him to the curb, because now they won't even remember his trash of a presidency, because all they're going to remember is how badly Kamala Harris did in the less than 2 months she was on the campaign trail. Right? People are saying what I said before. They're like, maybe we shouldn't have gotten rid of Joe Biden. Maybe we should have kept Joe Biden in, because this woman is trash. She is awful.
McClanahan brought up a great point. Brandon wasn't going to win. They had to figure out something to give the L to. They like Brandon. They don't like Kamala.
No.
And when things don't go good after this, you'll never hear the word Kamala ever again. This is their way of getting rid of her. And Barack's in charge, like we said before. He's doing it so his fingerprints aren't all over it or aren't just shown. I love this lady. He's going to throw it to the wolves. So kind of like you get scared, you push your friend into the shark or something.
Well, when the bear attacks, you trip your friend first so you can get away.
No, I want to go swimming in the ocean. You pick the slowest swimmer, so the shark will get it. So that's her. He's gonna. Vote for her. And when she's done, when she gets destroyed, I mean, it wouldn't be too shocking if he wins all 50.
Guys, right now, I just saw it. Right now, voting in Virginia is tied. Like early voting is tied 45% in Virginia. So
I mean, DJ went to California. I don't think he went to California in 2020. He's just like, I think I'm not going to do it. He's out there. And then they bring up these stories of, we got another shooter, just to get that. The guy that they even cops like, I'm not doing anything. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But no, just because the media goes with it, we got to crank that up so we can, maybe we'll cash in on a book deal on getting shot at or something. Hey, we'll sell some statues. I'm no kidding. I've seen the DJT statue.
There's coins, there's statues. There's all kinds of memorabilia.
I can't wait for this thing to just get over. 4 years go by, so I never see this again, because I mean, to be honest, after he's gone, I know there's some guy. There's one young pup. He thinks he knows a lot. Talked about J.D. Vance is going to be the next guy, and he compared him to Coolidge. Peter Thiel. I mean, J.D. Vance has the personality of a tree. Trump has all this. Everyone loves him because his personality. DeSantis doesn't have that personality. Outside of Florida, he's not got the national. Not a lot of people just love him.
He is a great governor. He's great at governance, but the man has the charisma of a wet rag.
Yeah, and that's not a knock on him.
No, it's not.
He should never leave Florida. Anybody that wants him to be president doesn't know what the heck they're talking about, which is pretty much everybody.
Yeah, it's very true. It's 100% true. And yeah, they're people who think like CNN and all these people don't want Trump back, you're out of your blanking mind. They made so much money between 2016 and 2020 when he was in office. They need him back to save their ratings.
Yeah.
They need him back. So,
as you said, they've already turned. We want to play the CNN clips because they've turned on.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
Here's the town hall.
This was their last ditch effort to go on friendly CNN to maybe make an appeal to show a different side of Kamala. Didn't go good for her.
And if anybody is worried that if they watch a video and they become dumb afterwards, please turn this off right now.
Yeah, you might. You might.
Quite a bit in the last 4 years. Yeah. And some people blame former President Trump. Some people blame President Biden. Who would you say is correct? And what would you do to bring prices down for Americans?
Thank you, Eric. And you're absolutely right.
This question should have been, since you are in office for the last 4 years,
what have you done for 3.5 years?
Who do you blame for the groceries going up in the past 4 years?
Right. You know it. I know it. I think most Americans know it. Price of groceries is still too high. And we need to address it in a number of ways. One of my aspects of doing what we need to do to bring down the cost of living for working people and the middle class in America is to address the issue of grocery prices. Part of my background and how I come to it is probably a new approach grounded in a lot of my experiences as a former attorney general, where I took on price gouging. And part of my plan is to create a new approach that is the first time that we will have a national ban on price gouging.
I'm trying to pull out my constitutional. Where in the world does price gouging come in the office of the president? I can't find. I'm out of lemon juice. I used it all up trying to find all these magical powers that they have. Not the inflation, not sending $8 billion or $1 trillion over to Ukraine and Israel every second day. No. It's the price. It's the storms. Here's more idiocracy.
And saying in a debate, when asked if border crossing should be decriminalized, but obviously that is not your position.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences, which is why part of
that be consequences, repercussions.
My plan that I have outlined, and again, please go to KamalaHarris.com. Sorry to throw a website on you.
I love it when she said that, because go to KamalaHarris.com because I do not have a clue what's on there.
Yeah, please go there.
But why not? And you will see that part of my plan includes what we need to do to actually do more as it relates.
I'm sorry I put the edited. Here's the unedited, because it shows that what's his face found his stones for the first time in 12 years.
He got the Tanya Harding order. That's what he got. He got to take out the knees.
Quashed. That was in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration.
I was surprised you didn't say, I was born in a middle-class family.
In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration.
But if it was that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually.
Look at him acting like Brett Baier.
Hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse.
I like how she goes back to Congress.
To use DC terms, but literally
it's Congress's fault.
Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents.
For the first time.
They talk about?
Yeah.
Yes, they are overwhelmed.
It's like that thing. I've never been to, what is it? Have you ever been to the border? And I've never been to Boston.
She says, I've never been to Europe either.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talked to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point,
Big great. Fixing the
Like
problem
what?
that we caused. So you need us to stay in because that would be change.
What
we now
are you talking about? What are you even saying?
Just start
Like this
talking.
this
But
is
hey, don't
amazing.
worry. CNN says exactly what you just said in a second.
as of today, as of our visit,
It's hysterically funny.
have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution,
you
and that
wish you had
requires
done that?
bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are
That I could probably try to do today, but I won't.
demanding it
Yeah.
on both sides of the aisle. And it's time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside. We know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall.
No. Answer the question.
The best
Answer
is
the
when she
question.
starts, the best is when she's laughing and nobody's laughing.
So
this question.
remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on,
Silence.
they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing
So
to a
come
bill
on.
that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I
Like, oh crap.
He was expecting to get
He was
expecting to get that out question there, and he was like, no. What about it?
that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America
kid's like,
has
"Don't bring me
always
back
had
into this."
migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it.
I was told to say that.
People have to
Yeah.
earn it.
I was handed this question.
And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just
Oh,
fix
she just
this
eliminated
thing.
herself.
Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So
Anderson.
you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it
But he's kinda
did not make
stupid.
much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually.
Poor
I
Cackle.
just said he's mean. Shut up.
Here's the post-show show.
Answer a question. Her habit is to kind of go to word salad city, and she did that on a couple of answers. One was on Israel. Anderson asked a direct question: would you be stronger on Israel than Trump? And there was a 7-minute answer, but none of it related to the question he was asking.
She doesn't have to be flawless, but she has to give you something. I mean, she's like a true double threat. You know, she's terrible on her feet when she gets unexpected questions, and simultaneously, she can't even answer the expected questions. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. You'd think she'd be prepared to do this by now. You know, what's a mistake you've made? Nothing. What's a weakness you have? Nothing. What's the first law you want to pass? Nothing. What's a policy difference between you and Joe Biden? Nothing. Over and over and over. Empty, empty, empty. If she were an animal, she'd be a duck-billed platitude. But look, it's a total
Nice.
Focused a lot more on Donald Trump, I think it's fair to say, than she did on many specifics in terms of what she would do as president. But she did go into some of her plans for small businesses.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, People are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one. There wasn't one.
I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary. But when she's talking about trying to get you a house, I believe her.
Kamala
When you lose Van Jones.
Harris participated in a one-person debate last night, and she lost. Okay, she was asked direct questions, and she provided very circular answers. My colleagues Van Jones and David Axelrod and others noted that she provided word salad answers. And Anderson would ask her specifically direct questions, and she didn't provide an answer to them. When asked, Anderson asked the best question all night. Why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Why haven't you been doing this? 10-minute answer, didn't answer the question. So what she did last night, I don't think helped her cause at all. I think people were looking for, how are you going to, you heard the one woman, how are you going to make my life better? That wasn't provided. Donald Trump bad is not going to get you to the White House. I hate to break it to her.
No.
They're throwing her to the wolves.
So Amy asks, we're all seeing the media turning on. Yeah, well, as Steve and I said, the fix was already in. They needed to push her up for a little bit so people could watch. So there was continued enthusiasm for the pollsters and the radio hosts and all these other people. But now that we're getting to the stretch run, next week is the election. It's in 2 weeks. Now they can start reshaping the campaign to be like, well, we tried, we were enthusiastic, but now clearly she's not ready, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. Because they never said she was ready. They just said she was joyful, that she had good vibes, that it was a breath of fresh air. Now they can start to pivot to the, well, clearly she stepped in when Joe wasn't ready. And she's just, she wasn't ready. She took on the task and she gave a good job, but she's just not ready for prime time as she gets blown out in the actual electoral college.
And don't forget, the media doesn't want to look like complete buffoons either. I mean, if they come out saying, look how amazing this woman is, when you just saw that and everyone's going, she's a moron. She isn't answering anything. Even their own people are saying she isn't answering anything. When you have Alice Cooper performing a Brad Barrett almost to her and just sticking it to, where hasn't it been in 4 years? I mean, that's the question. That's the easy question that just slams it down. It's like, hey, wait a minute. You're saying this change to what? Change to nothing. I mean, you have football. You have athletes saying, here's what's his face? UFC guy. Let's see if I have that up there. I think I did. Dana White. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
Basically, the Democratic Party controls all the media. They control all the media.
Why do you say that?
Other than Fox.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you don't watch Fox, Donald Trump is the devil, right? He's the worst thing ever to ever happen to the United States. And they keep talking about, if he gets in, you know what's going to happen? Well, he was already in. He's already been the president, so it's not like we don't know what's going to happen. The country was in a really good place when he was the president. You're talking about change from what? The last 4 years? And when you look at Biden, right? We all know where Biden's at. Biden, they even came out and said who's running the country right now? It's not him. It's not her. Who's running the country? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll tell you what's brilliant. Whoever's running the country pulled off this Kamala Harris thing so that they can stay in power and run the country for another 4 years. It's not Kamala Harris, and it's definitely not Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, I mean, anybody could have told you that. It's not really that much of a shock. But the fact of the matter is, it's that the deep state, if that's what you want to call it, is ready. They thought they could get away with Joe. Then they had the disastrous debate. Then for some reason, these people don't panic, but they panicked on this one to try and get her in there. And so now we're just kind of waiting this out. And of course, that's right. You had Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown out in Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh, Trump had a pretty busy Sunday, right? He did the rally in Pittsburgh. Then he went to the Steeler game that night where, he was a guest in somebody's suite, and they had the Trump Vance terrible towels, which was pretty good.
The Trump AI Steeler uniform.
Yep. Trump AI, that was a pretty good one. And then, of course, the best part was Trump going to good old McDonald's and handing out the fries and such.
McTrumps.
Just Donald. Just take away the Mech. Just it's just Donald's now. The Donnie.
Clip of this. This is, as you say, classic retail politics. Here's Donald Trump, the former president, wants to be president again at Macca's.
Macca's. Is that what y'all call it?
You got the salt on it. Never touches the human hand. Very good. Nice and full.
Thank you.
Good.
Off he went, and I'll get your thoughts on why this matters in a moment, Kristen. But first up, some of the lefties on the mainstream media, they pretended they couldn't see the point. Have a look at this.
What is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign.
Christian, these people are insane. Yes, it's a stunt, but it so obviously connects him to real people and real jobs, and it also exposes Kamala Harris as having a problem with the truth, right?
Yes, I mean, the fact that these leftist analysts don't understand the point of this tells you everything you need to know about why Kamala is poised to lose right now. This matters on several levels. First, Kamala has been bragging in recent years that she used to work at McDonald's, but there's no evidence of this. McDonald's has said they have no record of her working there. So, you know, it was kind of funny after Trump did this stunt, he was talking to a reporter and he said, well, now I can claim that not only have I worked at McDonald's, but I've worked there for 15 minutes longer than Kamala has. So it's great for Trump on that front. But the other way it really helps him is it shows that he's truly an authentic person. He loves people. He loves being with Americans, and he's not demeaning to working people in this country. You have the most authentic person who's ever run for president in modern political history up against perhaps the least authentic person to run for president in modern political history. And the contrast could not be more stark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see on Twitter today they're saying Rosie O'Donnell, the former comedian, is saying she'll boycott Macca's now. Again, that plays into his hand. These idiots saying that somehow it's a problem for Macca's to host him when most Americans and most people around the world like Macca's when they do get the chance. It's just
Macca's
ridiculous.
thing is killing me. Just say the name right.
Because his
Say
campaign
it right.
is brilliant. No matter what you think, no matter who you're going to vote for, you can't deny the brilliant campaigning style and public speaking style of this bloke. I want to go back to that big Catholic charity dinner in New York last week because his performance was just so good. Have a look at Donald Trump on self-deprecation.
Tradition holds that I'm supposed to tell a few self-deprecating jokes this evening. So here it goes. Nope, I've got nothing. There's nothing to say.
It's just terrific, isn't it, Kristen?
He's so funny, and it's real, genuine.
Anyway, we'll get out of that. But
so
we found where Kamala actually did work at. Anybody that's watched Coming to America, it's McDonald's. Also, the Babylon Bee had a great one. Did not know that Home Alone 2 was staged.
Did not.
Breaking news.
Because the left came out and said, oh, it was staged. I can't believe you people are falling for it. It was a staged event.
This was great.
Yeah, so you had the Biden thing, then you had Ocasio-Cortez when she went to the border. Pretty much, that's the thing. They're politicians. They're all staged. They're all staged. You're telling me the guy that supposedly survived 2 assassination attempts is going to go work at some random McDonald's on a Sunday afternoon and just let people roll up to the window and have him give them food out? Of course it's all going to be staged. Yeah. The problem is people now, up until I think 2016, maybe Obama. Obama didn't do this because he was too cool. He had his Spotify playlist and he won ESPN and he did the bracket. It's just as much staged as when Obama did his NCAA bracket, and they were terrible every single year. Like, I think North Carolina is going to win. They get bounced in the first round. But I just saw this today. Newsweek did a poll. 39% of the people they polled, 39% of the Gen Zers said that this made them like Trump more, which is exactly what the point of these things are supposed to do. It's supposed to be relatable because everybody's had the odd job or the entry level job and those kinds of things. And this goes back to this point that people who like Trump have been saying, where Trump likes to hang out. And there's all these stories. Trump always hangs out with the bus boys, with the bar staff. He'll go down in his hotels. When I was in, and I've said this 1,000 times, if you watch your show, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. When I was at the Trump Hotel in 2020 in Vegas, because he was going to be there the next week, we asked, and the staff generally could not wait for him to show up because he would always tip in like $100 bills, and he would come hang out with and he was always generally nice to the blue collar worker. And the Democratic Party, who always tries to champion the blue collar worker, just hates you, and subtly the fact that they hate McDonald's because it's food, it's trash food for the plebs, right? They would never be caught dead eating at McDonald's. That's why it's funny Trump loves them, but they would never be caught dead eating McDonald's because they're all vegan and Impossible Burger and all these other kinds of things. So there's so many reasons why this whole thing was just a brilliant play by Trump. Plus the photo ops were perfect.
He's a great troller. He trolled. That was 100% to troll the lefties. And then he had that line afterwards. Now I could say I worked 15 minutes longer than Kamala ever did at McDonald's. You saw the video outside. It was like 15 rows deep of people for a half a mile. And yes, they vetted everybody that came through. They got whatever they wanted. Whatever they handed is what you got. And somebody put on Instagram or something like they got 7 nuggets and a 6-piece or something.
Blessed.
Just like the Gretchen Whitmer thing. That was trolling us. The Olympic thing, that was trolling us. It's how can you trigger the other side? And that's exactly what that mean. Usually it's the lefties that do all that. And that's again, I think I can't remember who brought that up. That's another reason why they don't like DJs, because most GOPers don't do that kind of thing. No. He will go ahead and, screw that. I know that game. I'm going to do that too. And he plays their playbook against them. And they hate that.
Oh, yeah, because he does it better than them.
Oh, yeah.
He does it better than them. So it's just amazing to see that. And, you can see older footage of of the Kennedys. John F. Kennedy went to West Virginia and stood in the line with the coal miners while he was talking to him. The Kennedys aren't coal miners, but he was there and he made it look like he could sympathize with their plight. It's all photo ops. It's all staged. And the fact that
funny thing about your Kennedy thing, glad you brought that up. Remind me to say that is not to say that the whole shooting thing with we not calling it that stage, whatever. Back then, you were horrified to hear that somebody got their head blown off on TV. Fast forward to now, you have one side actually rooting for that to happen.
Yeah. Oh no, they're well. Let's jump to this one where this week they brought back the Trump is Hitler narrative. Kamala Harris did a press conference yesterday saying that Trump wanted his generals to be more like Hitler when he was in the White House. And it's just,
we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired 4-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States.
On the side of it, if she got in, how much of the military would be okay with her?
Right.
Nobody would.
In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens. And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within. Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within, like judges, like journalists, like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans. All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is.
Did you say that?
From the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room. And it is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, who in fact vowed to be a dictator
That's just
on
such
day
a
one
word salad
and
answer.
vowed to use the military as his personal militia to carry out his personal and political vendettas.
I just can't take
I mean,
cop.
First of all, that 4-star general was on his retirement tour, and he's trying to make sure he gets his retirement pay by being a good little Pentagon official and throwing Trump under the bus as he's leaving. So I don't care what he has to say.
It's like when Cackles talks about how, oh, look what I got. I got all his former VP and I got his former DOJ.
Oh, we got the Cheneys. Yay! We got the Cheneys on our side.
John Bolton, all the worst of the worst on your side. That's anybody looking at going, man, you're making me go for the other guy. You got those.
I can only vote for Trump so hard. If you,
I mean, I don't like the guy. I'm going. He's tightening me
I can
up.
only press the button so hard, man. Don't make me break the machine.
Speaking of what she was saying, oh, Trump's going to do that. This is what happened a couple weeks ago.
It's a headline from Zero Hedge. It's pretty hot headline. U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible.
Yeah.
This would open up the door for the careless use, and if more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people.
Yeah.
They're opposing our policies. They're demonstrating against COVID rules or something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous.
So here it is. Now, Zero Hedge picked it up from Armageddon Pros, which is a Substack which they often run. It says, U.S. military now authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil? Just ahead, intriguingly, of November elections, and that was my second thought, the military has granted itself permission to unleash lethal force on the civilian population. Again, I thought this has got to be an exaggeration, so I went and looked, and actually go to the next one, because this explains what it is. Now, it's not a law. It's a DoD directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over. They don't pass laws. They are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued DoD directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024. It governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities and now includes provisions authorizing lethal force in certain circumstances. And it supplants the 2016 version, which did not mention that. So I read all of this too, which is someone else's analysis. I said, okay, this sounds even more troubling. I want to go look at the document itself. And so go to the next one. I actually went and looked at the DoD directive. It's DoD Directive 5240.01. Now go to the next one. I'm just going to get to this really quick so I can, just so people, this is on their own website. Now this is section 3 of that directive. Assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Now go to the next one. Now this is levels of authority. This is section 3.3. Defense intelligence components may provide personnel to assist a federal department or agency, including a federal law enforcement agency or a state or local law enforcement agency when lives are in danger in response to such a request for such assistance in accordance with the following approval authorities. Now, here are the authorities. I'm sorry to get so far into the woods here, but go to the next one. Responding with assets with potential for lethality, and I underline this, I highlighted it, or any situation where it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. I'm sorry to bog the discussion down with that, Dr. Ball, but I really wanted to hone in on this is their actual document. It's not just someone's analysis.
You accuse Trump of that. They're doing that right now.
Yep. Well, that's what they do. Like when Trump gets in, they're going to start wars and they're going to escalate the war in Ukraine. They're going to start a war in Taiwan. They're going to start wars all over the place and dare him to stop them. That's going to be the big thing with that. Like, that's what you can look forward to. So because that's what's going to be taking place there. But yeah,
you gotta lock
also,
up.
I mean, then you have let's go. Actually, okay.
No,
I was going to say let's go with JPK and then to Biden because I think that one needs to be out.
When he said last night about Donald Trump, we got to lock him up.
So look, and the president spoke about this very clearly as well in his statement, and he said he meant lock him out politically, lock him out. That's what he said, and that's what we have to do. That was the part of his quote that he said last night while he was in New Hampshire. Look,
with the gaslighting award.
let's not forget, this is a president that has never shied away from being very clear and laying down what is at stake in this election. I'm going to be really mindful and not speaking about 2024 election. That's just less than 2 weeks away. But this is just speaking to what the president said last night. He made very clear yesterday that he was referring to defeating Donald Trump. That is what he was talking about. He said politically lock him out. That is what he was referring to.
Well, he first said twice, lock him up. So you're saying when he said lock him up, he meant defeat
Well, it's not
Donald
what
Trump.
I'm saying. It's what he said. He said to the he right, exactly. He clarified himself.
So in case now that you have the pretext, here's what he actually said. Old Joey B.
Place every civil servant, every single one, thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to him. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up. Politically lock him up.
Yeah, he was like, lock. Oh, wait. I mean, politically, not like for real. You know, that's poor Joe goes between hating the Democratic Party and putting on a Trump hat and pretty much throwing Kamala under the bus for everything. And then they kind of like push him back in line, like, Joe, you got to go out and you can't be like that. And then he goes out and he stumbles around. Like next week, he'll say something positive about Trump or negative about Kamala again, just because, you know, I feel like that's going to be the final dagger he's going to be able to put in the heart of, you know, the idea of Kamala, because he doesn't like Kamala and Jill doesn't like Kamala and nobody likes Kamala. So, you know, I don't think Jill likes Donald Trump personally, but I think he hates Kamala even more in that regard. But yeah, you have this Hitler line that's happening. You have all of this stuff. There was a something that dropped last night about a former SI swimsuit model who said that Trump he said Trump in 1993, and there's a lot of key words in here. Trump, with the help of Jeffrey Epstein in 1993, assaulted her. Now, if you take a step back, it's like, so you didn't say anything in 2016. You didn't say anything in 2020. You didn't say anything when you had the sexual abuse case in New York. You didn't say anything with any of the other trials. And you said this happened in 1993, except real estate records show that Epstein didn't live there until 1996. So they're throwing everything out. He's Hitler. He's an abuser. He's beep. None of this stuff is working. They tried to make.
Worked at McDonald's and smoked weed with Tupac.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well. You might as well at this point. But they even tried to do this thing where he was making fun of a family for a funeral for one of the soldiers. And the family was like, actually, he was really nice. And he actually didn't say that at all to us. So it's right now for the next week, you're just going to be listening to the worst crop of throwing spaghetti. Folks, Trump's been on the political scene for almost 10 years now. For almost 10 years. There's nothing new at this point. And people are like, oh, if he said his generals are going to be like Hitler, I can't afford groceries. So if we need Hitler generals, then I guess that's whatever, man. So if milk doesn't cost $9.
It's the old joke when you have nothing else to do, you play the Hitler card. But
that
hey, they keep you using that whole, he say he's going to be dictator day one, just like they all were.
Yeah,
anybody that's elected monarch day one, how many EOs they do. Brandon did it, Obama did it, Bush did it, Trump did it the first go around. It's nothing new. I found a candidate I want to vote for.
I'm Gil Fulbright. The people that run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Philip a mouth with farts, and I approve this message.
We need more politicians like Malafa farts.
Here's the latest polling, too. I don't know if you saw this. Nobody?
Oh, wow. So Texas can or cannot?
Oh, you can't. It's with a permit, you can.
Okay, good. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking to make sure.
Those are polls that matter. We come here for the real news.
Yeah, that's right. You know, you want to make sure that you actually can, own a kangaroo with reason.
People write me more than Kamala's texting right now, being that I'm in North Carolina and I'm getting bombarded by texts from Kamala. There was a video. Look at Kamala being up in the mountains. But by the way, sorry about that. I didn't think about that segue. Here's Cooper the other day. If you guys didn't know, the hurricane there.
You know, North Carolina had two 500-year storms within 20 months of each other in the same place.
That's news to me. I had no clue about that in 20 months.
We just had a 1,000-year storm event in southeastern North Carolina, 1,000-year. We know that that's not true.
I don't like his air quotes.
I have no idea what he's talking about on that. Maybe he's talking about that unnamed storm.
These events are going to become more and more intense. So we've spent a lot of time being smart about the way we approach rebuilding. We go into community.
Country Mickey, sorry, that was just a joke one. It was where you can own a kangaroo. So if you're interested in where you can own a kangaroo, that's where you can own a kangaroo. So,
yeah, what does green mean?
Good to go.
Or you just no permit, nothing?
Yeah, without a permit. You can have a kangaroo in Wisconsin, West Virginia, West by God, Virginia, and South Kakalaki.
That's not really a shot.
Rejoice.
Yeah.
We work with them. We have plans for local governments. You know, in some areas, you just shouldn't build back. And we've been able to convince certain communities and people that buyouts are better. And you create green space that soaks up flood water that comes and protects surrounding areas. When you do build back, you have to invest more in order for property to be more resilient. But when it is elevated, we even saw in some of the storms subsequent that those properties were unaffected because we had made them more resilient. So those are the challenges that we're facing every day. And it's one of the reasons why we've been able to get a number of Republican local officials, particularly on the coast, who said, okay, guys, climate change is here. We know that we have to do something about it. We know that the United States is the leader.
So apparently hurricanes during hurricane season means climate change is here. And he said, if you didn't catch that, he's talking about maybe you should build that. Now, in a sense, right, because 1916 flood, 2 hurricanes merged before climate change became a thing. 2 hurricanes came in one spot in North Kakalaki in that same area and did the same flooding in the same spots to the same people. And as one guy who did a documentary I did, if you look on News from the Pew from the other day, I have that video, and he talks about him saying that maybe we shouldn't rebuild in these areas, that this could ever happen again. And because of that, you're opening yourselves up to 1916 again. And he said that 7 years ago. And look what happened, the same thing. So in a sense, that whole, yes, they're going to try and maybe do a land grab, but 2, you shouldn't probably put your house right next to the river right there, because there are some areas that we're talking 30 feet up, and the houses were 30 feet above the water, and it came up to that level in some areas, over bridges, things like that. Some places, they might unleash the dams, and there was some weird stuff that might have happened. The landslides you can't really control, but it's a problem wherever you live. There's some problem somewhere.
Well, yeah, no matter where you live,
there's
gonna be something. It's like, don't build in Texas because it's in Tornado Alley, or like, don't build a house in New England because you're gonna get a blizzard. You're gonna have to deal with nature somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's really, do you have the misfortune of living in a natural place where there is rare earth minerals, like up in was it Montana or Wyoming that was having that 100-year fire that nobody talked about?
Wyoming.
That happened to be right near a huge deposit of rare earth minerals, and suddenly that sucker's on fire. If you live in a place that is just full of rock and nobody cares about, you're good to go. Maybe you'll just have natural stuff. If you live near some rare earth mineral stuff, you're gonna get like the GoldenEye James Bond telescope that's gonna set your whole area on fire and hit it with nukes and all that stuff.
And something happened with that. Someone said Alabama just came out saying they're flooded with lithium, and someone goes, "You're all about to get some weather."
This is the new hey, Uganda has oil, and then you see the A-10s flying in the direction of Uganda. It's like, you got the rare earth minerals. Well, you better watch the blank out.
Here's this week in New Mexico, which probably people didn't know about.
Yeah, but it's New Mexico. Nobody really cares about New Mexico.
He's going surfing up top.
I mean, it's near Roswell. I get it. That's where the aliens are. And I feel bad for the people there. Obviously, that's terrible. The flooding that's taking place.
All right, we got him now.
I mean, that's the problem in a place like New Mexico. If they get any kind of substantial flooding, they're not built. They don't have the drainage systems for that.
Well, how does the Southwest happen like that?
The Colorado River, called the hardest working river in the United States, is in danger.
This is due to 2 causes: reductions in precipitation and increased air temperatures.
The river provides hydropower to 7 states, irrigation to more than 5 million acres of farmland, drinking water to 40 million Americans, and of course, the breathtaking Whitewater Rapids running through the Grand Canyon. All of it threatened by more than 2 decades in a megadrought. We can't just flip a switch like Colonel Joe Moore in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, reference.
But we do have a superpower. Straight out of science fiction's X-Men: The Last Stand.
Not really.
It's called weather modification, or cloud seeding.
We can't create.
By the way, this is ABC. The conspiracy theorists. ABC.
2 weeks ago, you were getting made fun of if people said you could change the weather. Now they're just rolling B footage of it happening.
Oh, this video is from a couple years ago. That's
fantastic.
Years ago.
That's so good. So good.
Cloud. There has to be an existing storm system.
We just give it a bump.
Yeah.
Garrett Kamens heads up one of the largest cloud seeding companies in the U.S. Has the desperation in the mega drought made the interest in cloud seeding skyrocket?
Oh, definitely.
There are currently 42 cloud seeding projects across the American West, like this one in Utah, where they
What'd you say? 42 projects in the American West.
take planes like this with flares attached. They fly right into the storm and send microscopic particles into the cloud. Particles that act like magnets for water droplets, bonding together until they are heavy enough to fall to the ground as rain or snow. At the University of Colorado, researchers are working on artificial intelligence to deploy cloud seeding drones. And it's not just cloud seeding from the sky. There are hundreds of those things. That shack you see in the foreground is a ground-based cloud seeder. The little flame coming out is sending tiny silver iodide particles up into the sky. When a storm comes through, they go up to 2,000 feet above our head, into the storm, up those mountains, and make more snow than it naturally would. While cloud seeding has been helping get every last drop out of some of the driest years on record, this past winter, Mother Nature came through. The Southern Rockies, which feed the Colorado River, got more than 4 times their average snow. But experts say it's still not enough. As much as cloud seeding is a boost or a help, it's not a solution. The main solution is
Conservation.
cloud seeding is most successful in wet years, so this was a huge winter for them. They actually stopped early because Mother Nature was giving up so much. Now, studies have shown that the environmental impacts from the silver iodide, on the current scale, there are no impacts to snow or rain also downstream, so it doesn't impact, the other weather. They do anticipate at least 200 more ground cloud seeders in the future, and the federal government has committed $2.6 million to seeding. Back to you,
$2.6 million. To see, I've seen that thing out countless times, and again, that came out probably about 6-7 years ago. It's easy to find. Just type in cloud seeding, Good Morning America. You'll see it. There's tons of this stuff. But yeah, flooding in New Mexico, Roswell. They cloud seeded New Mexico for the ski resorts, so that they can
also Roswell to keep the aliens at bay. But that's
well, doesn't you can cloud seed for X purpose right here. You want this, you want it to here. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the wind could take it somewhere else, and someone else gets hit. Just like Australia, they tried seeding in one area, and this other area got flooded. So I mean,
I just watched the movie Signs the other night, so that's why we got to keep because they don't like water, so we got to make sure.
You brought up water. Here's some thing you're not going to hear in national news.
Rain has hit the western part of North Carolina, and the cleanup towards a new normalcy continues. But large items of debris like this behind me are making even more challenges. A mosaic of items of people's lives now reside in the rivers in Creston.
Remnants of stuffed animals, toys shattered. You always think about the kids, oxygen machines.
Buck Thrillkill, a retired service member from Fayetteville, has been in Creston for more than a week, helping cleanup efforts.
Debris, trees, everything, and it's under the water. Any little single piece of rebar sticking up will catch any and everything that comes by.
He and other volunteers in canoes, excavators, and waders have been pulling out items blocking waterways. Those things are redirecting water in new directions.
The springtime, when it thaws, all of this flooding is going to happen all over again. The locals know it. Nobody else is talking about it.
It's a race against time, as once the water freezes over, the debris will become a part of the river.
They may have a house left. There's nothing in it. There's children sleeping on the floor and no heat. 30 degrees last night. Everything's covered in ice this morning.
He says a horse from a farm next to this bridge has died from drinking this contaminated water and eating hay bales that were sitting in the flood.
There's cattle lifestyles up here, people raising beef, horses.
Not anymore.
Every bit of hay you'll drive down the road to see round bales of hay and go, oh, they're good to go. No, it's no good. It can't be used.
He says the devastation is something no one could have saw coming and leaves him with only one thing left to feel.
Humbled. That's it.
Buck says the other volunteers he has been with are now forever family.
And you can't burn anything right now because it hasn't rained for 2 weeks. So they got a fire ban in pretty much all of Western North Carolina right now. If you burn anything, it'll probably go all up in smoke. The one city had a mud warning that the mud is flesh-eating mud at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, it's not a great situation for them up there. So it's tough. It really is. It's not great, and that's what happens when you mess around with the weather. You know, you try to play God, and these things happen. And most times, poor people, the poorer class, are always the lower income class. People are always the first to suffer. Always will be the first to suffer for that kind of stuff. In that regard, but
can I get a jab into Israel since they bombed a Catholic church the other day and no one cares about it?
No, because they're our greatest ally, so it's okay.
We saw it linked to antiwar.com, so you can easily find it there if you want to read it. It's a very long report, Dr. Paul, and the Substack is called Drop Site, that went in and did an extensive study. In fact, if you can put that first one on, this is the headline: "Our job is to flatten Gaza. No one will stop us. Inside one Israeli battalion's year-long mission of destruction." So this was an investigation.
Since we brought up Hitler and the Holocaust, here's the Israeli Holocaust.
Into the 749th Combat Engineering Battalion's mission to destroy all the symbols of Gaza's future. And what they did, Dr. Paul, is they went into the social media posts of every single member of this battalion and did a kind of collection of what they were doing and what they were saying at the time. And it provides a real snapshot. Well, obviously, there's a lot of bravado when you're in war, and people say things when they're hyped up and hopped up on God knows.
Well, just to keep for brevity, here's from October 12th. Again, we weren't on last week to talk about it, but Israel bombs Catholic Church in Lebanon, killing at least 8 people. And every Catholic journalist, oh no, they did not tweet out that at all. They did not say a darn thing about it. Daily Wire did approximately
nothing.
0 shows. Did anybody do one? Knowles?
No.
3? Any of you guys? None? 0? Goose egg? Nobody cares about. How did that fly under the radar? How did nobody?
Matt Walsh had to make a new movie, so he was too busy making his 4th movie that nobody cares about.
I saw Knowles tweet out that he would crawl over glass to vote for DJT, who's coming out saying that he is 100% behind Israel and helping win whatever war they need to go with. So whatever you think you're going to get a Zionist something coming in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So that's. I mean, I did my part. I voted for it.
Francis did probably criticize it. I didn't see it, but I was talking about the journalists that critique everything that Israel, and someone sneezes in the vicinity of Israel, they get upset that you're a terrible human being, you're whatever, you shouldn't do this. But Israel bombs the Catholic Church, and they are in fact Catholic guys that are upset.
Brett Baer didn't say a word.
Crickets.
You know, all of them. But you know, the thing is, Pope Francis probably, you know, even if he didn't make something out, too many people are too busy being like, he's not even the Pope. It doesn't matter what he says. Even when he does something right, he still does something wrong. Probably because he didn't wear the right color vestments or something like that, according to the traditional liturgical calendar. So that's
really good encyclical today. I didn't see it, but I've heard the encyclical he put out was pretty good today.
Yeah, I actually heard. Because he it's about the Sacred Heart, I believe.
He is correct. That was actually Hamas. We are providing misinformation. That was actually a Hamas church or Hamas McDonald's. It was not a Catholic church. Do not look at that. That was a McDonald's led by Hamas, and you saw somebody handing out some fries in the corner.
It was like from the Zohan. It was like the guys from the Zohan when he made that stand. That was his. He was selling falafel, and so it's the falafel. Actually, they did him a service because it didn't pass the last health inspection, so I had to go. So that's all. It was all good. Just a falafel place. It's fine.
Your boy was on. Your boy's been. Oh shoot! He was here yesterday.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter. And I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention.
He was here yesterday.
If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. Yeah. Okay, I got you, buddy. Okay, you got you. You sued nuns because they didn't want to go because they didn't want to pay for abortions.
I can tell you, why people don't like us so divided. Look in the mirror, and we have the most gigantic, biggest government in the history of mankind which is not a good thing. We should not be going, yay, we need more, we need more.
Yeah.
By the way, again, whoever wins in 4 years, it will grow exponentially over the next 4 years.
Yep. Indeed. That's going to be the case no matter what. If it's like Alien versus Predator, whoever wins, we both lose.
This came out today. There's the gay community just preaching and talking about how great DJT is.
Is this the log cabin Republicans or no?
Yeah, I watched it earlier today. Log cabin Republicans.
Yep.
Yes,
They've been around for a while, but they're now starting to get recognized. Essentially, they're starting because they were kind of like on the outside, literally, and they're like, oh yeah, the log cabin. Now they're being embraced by the Republican Party. And so, that's your new glorious Big Tent. Hope you all like the Big Tent because you're getting shoved to the outside of it. And that's
what's his face? Michael Bolden had a great line about all this. Any people that believe they can only be free if they get a particular person in power is not free at all. That is a population on its knees begging for scraps. Oh, by the way, remember that whole, hey, that's Hitler?
Yeah, there he is. There's Hitler in the flesh.
Yeah,
there. All right, let's wrap it up. Time for Saint of the Week and Cry Room. Steve, go first.
Let me do some honorable mention just to clean up.
Yeah,
so we don't have
do
to
some
talk
honorable
about it
mentions and then get
ever
your
again.
Cry Room in.
NC, North Carolina DOT says the post-road construction will leave several $billion. Globalists flee in terror as Russia plans for mass adoption of digital ruble in mid-2025. So anybody that says that Russia's not in with the Great Reset, enjoy. Israel targets a Lebanon bank linked to Hezbollah, and as the joke goes, Israel would know. Anybody get it? The bankers. Tesla's prototype Optimus robots were controlled by humans. So you got had. You saw the kangaroos. Anybody getting that? I expect to see Rick wearing a Trump or Tramp
2024. That goes really good next to my Catholics versus convict shirt. So
here's the neocon circling to surge Trump. Surging Trump, will he bite? Weekend news that neocon Nikki Haley is in talks to hit the campaign trail for DJT. Should raise red flags. Anyone cautiously optimistic that Trump 2.0 will avoid some of the personal disasters that Trump 1.0 fell into time and time again, which guarantee 2.0 will be the same as 1.0. All right. My cry room, I'm going to go with, did you hear about this story? I don't have the video because I don't want to, pull it off John. What happened is this lady got arrested. This is in Texas. She let her kid, she lets her kid walk home, from school, and he was acting up. They just got done from karate practice, and she told him to get out of the car and walk home the rest of the way. Probably about 300 yards. Some woman and some Karen looked out her window, saw a kid walk 8 years old, 9 years old, walking down the street, middle of the day or in the middle, daytime, whatever, calls the cops. Cops come over to the house. They ended up arresting the mom because it's endangering and stupid to her kid or whatever. And then they forced her to write an apology letter saying that she didn't mean it and she won't do it again. They asked her, why didn't she fight it? It would have cost her $7,000 to fight it. And she was looking at 2 years in jail. Just because of that. And she said that lives in that's the thing. The city that they live in is ranks among the safest cities in Texas. I don't know about anybody else in the chat room. I know I did when I remember riding a bike. I'd be at the house. I just leave the house, ride, and come back. Dad always told us, just be back before sundown.
When the street lights come on. Yep. When the street lights come on, you gotta go.
That was just because dinner. And it was we'd gone. We'd gone the whole day. Now, man, you can't walk. You let your kid walk down the sidewalk for a couple blocks. And as the video goes on, it's the media scared everybody so badly into thinking everybody's a predator. Sure, is there stuff out there? But do you live? I'm trying to tell a couple people near me. Do you live in fear? Or do you live in live in life? I mean, not everyone's out to get everybody. Sure, they're bad people. You don't want to be stupid about it. But if you live in a nice neighborhood, go play.
Yeah.
I
guess they'd rather just have them on their screens, just inside.
My saint of the week is a Saint Bernard, not a
Stayed put until firefighters arrived and used chainsaws to dig Jamie out.
Since he has a really big nose and really big ears, I think he could hear me and smell me. I thought he was trying to tell them where I was.
Jamie was flown to Atrium Health Cabarrus, where one nurse is fostering Tucker, and the rest of the team has spent their own money buying the basics for the family who lost everything, including their home.
Oh, I've been paying for it for over 25 years. $4,000 short of paying it off. And my idea was that it would be, paid off, and I'd, however long or short my life is, that we wouldn't have any more mortgage payment. And now it's all gone.
But they're so grateful they have each other. And of course, Tucker. The siblings had used their allowance money to pay for Tucker 3 years ago.
I thought I had the whole clip. My apologies. What happened is the boy you saw was trapped underneath the house, and the dog found him. I don't know how many days went by, but the dog smelled him out, got the fire department over on top of him. They ended up getting out. Apparently, they were going to put the dog down, and the kids had asked to keep him around or something like that. So that's the reason the dog saved the kid by finding his body before he died.
It's a good dog. Good dog.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's fantastic. All right. So, Saint of the Week are the 8 men that went through the Martyrs Walk last week. All 8 went in, all 8 went out. So we are now up to 26 members. I am extremely proud of each and every one of them. We put them through the paces, and they came out on the other side. And so you'll be seeing more and more video of them and footage of them at themartyrswalk.com or on social medias, whichever one you follow. So congratulations to you guys. Welcome to the Brotherhood. My cry room is the GOP, and that is because kind of like what Steve was talking about with the log cabin Republicans, everybody else is celebrating it. I see it for what it is. Tulsi Gabbard is now officially a Republican. She made the announcement that she was leaving the Democratic Party and she was now going to be a Republican. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, look how great she is. Oh, she's so hot. We're so First of all, she's pro-choice. She's pro-baby killer. So that expands your tent even more. And secondly, she may be evolving on firearms, but she was anti-gun for a long time. I don't trust politicians that are anti-gun that are suddenly pro-gun. So I don't really believe any of that. So the cry room is them, just because GOP is always desperate to be the cool kids in the club that, somebody who is stringently anti the old GOP platform is now welcomed with open arms into the Republican Party. So that's a loss for the GOP. Take the L.
How dare you?
That's right. That's right, Greta. Next, it'll be you next, Greta, that we welcome in. It'll be soon enough. Soon enough, Greta. You'll see the light. It'll be fine. And
the people here.
Greta will run with my son Baron, and they will be the ticket in 2075.
Now, can you see that voice reading the Armed Catholic book?
Yes, if you pay. It's $50 for the Trump edition, because I'm going to have to give $25 to Trump just for using his voice. He'll let me license it out, but it's going to cost me money, folks. There's no way I'm going to get the DJT version without having to pay a pretty penny for that.
DJRBT version.
Yeah, you're right. That's not going to. Cold day in hell, Steve. Cold day in hell before that happens. Yeah, that's it, folks. That's it for this episode of News from the Pew. I want to thank every single one of you guys for hanging out with us. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. Make sure you go get my book at Amazon and all other fine places, including Mike Church's Mike Church Founders Trading Post, shop.mikechurch.com. You can get it there, physical copies as well. And make sure you check out Sensus Fideum and Sensus Fideum Press for amazing books as well. Help out the channel for Steve and
get the app right out there.
Oh yeah, go get. If you're gonna do anything, go get the Sensus Fideum app. And some of you are actually, I think, watching it on the app right now. So if you are, let Steve know how it's running. I'm sure it's running beautifully. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us on News from the Pew. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. We will talk to you all. Thank you, Phoebe. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll talk next week. God bless. And viva Cristo Rey.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. 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 They're eating the dogs, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating